right, welcome to the fourth and final review of the evening. Up this time is Eight Eyes. Right, so Eight Eyes is a game that I was familiar with as a kid. In
Oh,
that
this is an actual like NES game.
Yes, this is an actual NES game. And I remember it from like magazines and guidebooks and the like. It came up there. I'm like, and I remember it selling itself as a combination of Castlevania and Mega Man. How do I put
Well,
this?
it's certainly
So that's technically true, entirely misleading.
it certainly looks like Castlevania, but A, Castlevania was already hard, and B, Castlevania without the extremely precise controls that Castlevania had for everything except for jump control, which was still precisely engineered, just in a way that was hard. I'm saying it would be hard to maintain the quality.
I'm like, Eight Eyes is definitely a game that's good to play. In the sense that, it's the contrast. If you really want to get a good idea of how good the Castlevania games are, you play something like this. You play an imitator that, didn't get it or tried something different, but tried elements that didn't work out. And among other things, because this is also like one of the most ambitious NES games I've played, emulator or no. In fact, I would say it's way too fucking ambitious for the NES.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, things like Castlevania and Ninja Gaiden were very punishing, but they also were tightly engineered to be the way they were.
All right. So, I could recount the whole fucking plot of Eight Eyes, which is fairly elaborate, but I did not really care about it when I read it. Like, it's this whole post-apocalyptic thing where you're trying to resurrect some great king, and you're trying to find 8 jewels, hence the 8 eyes. And you can select the stages in a non-linear fashion, and every time you beat a duke, one of the stage bosses, you get a powerful sword. The catch is this sword is vulnerable to one boss. So there's an optimal complete order. There's your Mega Man influence.
But if they're all swords, they're not as interesting and probably don't have as much other utility as most master weapons.
They all work the same. It's just kind of in the damage differentials. The thing is, the way you're supposed to find out the boss order and also the jewel order, because at the end of the game you have to put the 8 eyes in a correct sequence.
Mm-hmm.
There are hints in secrets found throughout the 8 stages. This is how which is honestly better than Castlevania 2. Because,
in fairness, I'm pretty sure Lobotomy is probably better than Castlevania 2.
Castlevania 2 had some very cool ideas about nonlinear advancement and sometimes people just being shits to you, but the end result was very clunky, and you should not have to purchase holy water to soak every inch of the floor in front of you just to notice that there are some areas where the fucking water just goes through the floor, and therefore that's not a real floor.
It's among that level, actually, but I mean, at least in this case, all the information is accurate.
Right.
Castlevania 2 had people just straight up lie to you. Yeah. Which is just not, that is bad design. I don't care how good the game actually is. You know, giving you false information is not good.
Yeah, the graveyard duck guy was just fucking with you.
Yeah. Anyway, getting back to, those are the Mega Man elements. Once again, it's like it saw what Mega Man was trying to do, but didn't really get it. Because, you've got basically 8 functionally identical swords. But that's not where my biggest problem lied with this game. It's because I don't know, like, I can't say for certain if it ripped off Zelda 2, but what it what this game did was it's like it took Castlevania's speed and tempo and stiffness and put fucking Zelda 2's Link's range into it.
That's true. I mean, well, there is Grant in Castlevania 3, but...
Well, and also don't forget the slow wind-up animation, Adam.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, but it's also, Grant was fast. That was the trade-off. Like, Ninja Gaiden, melee focus, but the game is fast.
Yeah,
I could read
the
War
weapon
and
range here
fucking
is
Peace
notably
before the
shorter.
swing.
Yeah, the weapon range here is notably shorter than the Castlevania whip, which is sometimes still on the short side.
Right, but you got a whip. That's something with length. This has very limited range. And there's a reason for that. And that's into the ambitious part, because you're actually controlling 2 characters. You've got Orn here. He's the falconer, and you've got Curtis, the falcon. Here's the thing: the falcon is playable both in cooperative mode and in single player, and you have to use him. That's the reason why you were given this short ass sword, because Orin is your long range attack. And you might be wondering, I'm not sure, I'm not really watching the stream because I'm on my phone. I can't mute it. So I don't know if Petty fans unlocked the secrets of the Falcon.
No.
But, okay, in order to access the Falcon, you have to hit up and I want to say A. It's one of the buttons. Like,
so normal sub-weapon input?
Ordinarily, but here's the thing. Your 2 face buttons, attack and jump. This game also has sub-weapons. That is handled with the up and jump button. The up and attack button has your Falcon rise. And once the Falcon's flying around, hitting up and hitting down and attack will have the Falcon fly down for a strike.
Good idea. Sounds clunky.
Do you see what I'm talking about in terms of ambition? Like I said, this is one of the legit most ambitious NES games in terms of like actual attacks and mechanics that I can think of. But here's the thing: it's not good at it. Like, I will, it's like this is the kind of game that would really have worked on the Super NES with, a dedicated sub-weapon and Falcon button. And hell, with the Super NES, you could even have the Falcon attacks, and in order to have the Falcon return, you have to hit up and attack again. Because the Falcon has its own health and can get hit. And here's the thing, you're going to get hit a lot until you figure out this game. Because this game can be figured out to a point. Oh, and it's also got the fucking stairs problem from Castlevania 2.
I noticed that.
Yes. Only with this fucking sword.
Hey, at least it doesn't have fall damage.
And
I mean, the
I'm-
Castlevania, they did solve that by Castlevania 3, I think. It was still clunky, but there was
Look.
theoretically a way, I guess. I don't know.
I'm like, this game is no fucking Castlevania.
Uh-huh.
Like, this is more comparable to, say, Haunted Castle. And look, I tried with this game. I really did. Like I put like 3 hours into it because I'm like, shockingly, all these design. I probably would have destroyed my NES if I played this as a kid. Yeah, and it's also like I can see why this game doesn't get talked about in the NES conversation. I mean, even like the lost hidden gems portion, like that's the section where you get things like Journey to Silius. Great game, not that much of a spotlight shown on it, but this game just flat out doesn't come up in conversation in terms of the NES. Like, which always interests me because, like I said, I do remember hearing a fair amount of this game back when the NES was a living, breathing system, as it were. But this hasn't even really gotten retro traction, and I always wondered why. Having played the game, I can see why. It's like, okay, you tried to combine some of the mega um, popular franchises from the NES, but you didn't really like you're not Power Blade. No, you're Eight Eyes. And it's like what finally killed any desire to go through this game was, I believe, I want to say the Africa level. It's the level that decided to have this fucking maze construct to it. And yeah, playing this game with that, I'm like, done. Because it's like, because Betty is obviously playing the PC version of this, and it's on an emulator, so you can save the game at any point. And I would absolutely fucking recommend doing that if you pick this up. This is the fucking cheap, fake ass difficulty that games from this time period was known for. Not very long, but it's hard, and it's hard for being shit. I can't even say that. And here's the thing: I can't even say this game has great music. Like, it had a notable composer apparently, a lot of music, but I can remember none of it. And keep in mind the system we're fucking talking about here, the NES. This is home to some of the most iconic music tracks of all time. It's like, but once again, it doesn't even come up in the smaller hits conversation. Once again, going back to Journey of Silius, that's really notable for its excellent soundtrack. This game has none of that, and that's because it's mediocre at best.
Can you do the 2-player on the PC, do you think?
Yes.
Yes, but you need another controller or remote play together setup.
And imagine trying to do that. Yeah, and yeah, here's the thing: the game is flat out more difficult trying to do the two characters with one shock upon shocks. Now, I know. Maybe someone get Naka and Ogre to play this.
I'd like them to retain their friendship, thanks.
Yeah, and I would like Ogre to keep talking to me.
That too.
He doesn't do any of that stuff to me, so I don't care. Like anyway. Yeah. Let's see. So in terms of pricing, hang on. Let me see here. $7. Although it is on sale for 65% off at $2.44. I'm like, I'd hesitate to even recommend it at $7, but keep in mind this is an actual NES game from back, in the 80s. So imagine having to pay 30, 40, however many dollary dues it was in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
As a then and now situation, obviously this price is better. Still couldn't recommend it even at 244 because
Although, in fairness, in the 80s, there were actually significantly worse games.
Oh,
on
yeah,
the
yeah.
NES, so
Yeah, but like I could recommend this game over, say, something like The Karate Kid or Back to the Future, or insert so many of the bad NES games that have been covered ad nauseum. Silver Surfer, X-Men for the NES, that kind of shit. It's not that. This definitely wasn't slapped together quickly and cheaply to make a quick buck. This has actual ambition behind it. This has some ideas. It's just the execution was terrible. Definitely makes for a more interesting interview. A more interesting review. But I still, once again, couldn't recommend it all the same. It's like, this is a case. Unfortunately, this is not a lost classic. Not even a lost mediocre gem. This game is pretty actively terrible and should be avoided. And if you want to see this kind of stiff, deliberate gameplay done better in a review we just did, go watch our review of Super Hunchback. It's definitely along those same lines, but you don't have a very restricted attack, and the game's not designed around that, because you're expected to clunkily control a falcon at the same time. All right. Any other questions, comments, or concerns over 8 Eyes here?
I think I'm good.
I think I've said everything that came to my mind.
All right. So the week ahead. Let me get the right window. All right. Let's see here. Gotta get the right place. Doing this on the phone is kind of clunky. Can't even call this live research. It's more the phone reset where my notes were. So I have to. All right, here we go. So on Wednesday, July 6th, we'll be having another session of our Let's Play of Heaven's Vault, because our guest had to cancel out tragically. It's one of those death of a family, death of a friend, death of somebody close. They canceled and said they won't be scheduling anything for the foreseeable future kind of deals. That unfortunately happens. Like, I don't think that's the first time this season that's happened, actually. But let me see here. On Friday, July 8th, we will be having a Friday show that day, and we'll be welcoming our good friend Maciek from Movie Games SA / Pixel Crow, and this time he's bringing along Bartek Pajzonka. I don't know if I mangled that name, but foreign names, especially like a Polish name, my tongue does not like. Anyway, we'll be talking about a game called Food Truck Empire on the program. And let's see, we do have a new episode of Moonhawk Studios Presents scheduled. So look for that as well. And until Wednesday, I shall wish you good gaming.